Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Troy with Cichlid Bros. In today's video, we are unboxing some new aquariums. We have 3 new aquariums that are considered smart aquariums. They are relatively new to the marketplace. I'm going to unbox them. I'm going to set up at least one of them, and I'm going to give a quick review and my general thoughts on these new aquariums, see if they're worth it. Let's dive right in. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the unboxing of both of these here. And first off, this guy, which is a small little tank, and you can see here the company is Wonder Factory. So this is one of the smaller tanks, definitely like a little desktop tank, but it has some unique features which we'll talk about that make it technically a smart aquarium, or at least this company calls it that, but we'll check it out in a second. And then we have a similar one here. This is the V1. The previous box was the V2, so I think this one's just slightly smaller, pretty much the same aquarium as before. And like I said, I'm going to be setting up the bigger one right here, but these two might be going either on a desktop or to one of my brothers. We'll see. Okay, and then this should be the bigger guy here. Oh, okay. I don't know if you could see that, but this is a slightly bigger one. I'm going to have to unbox this to see exactly how big it is, but it's a pretty interesting looking aquarium. I am intrigued. Alright, so let's go ahead and get these aquariums out of their box so we can get a closer look and then go over some of the features and just what makes them interesting in general. I even got Rambo here helping me as usual. Looks like you got some power cords, some instructions on top, some airline tubing, big piece of styrofoam. Then here is the aquarium. I think that's maybe an auto feeder. And I think the top has a light in it, but we'll check that out in a second. All right. And there it is, the first look at the new tank. So this is interesting. It's definitely a little sleek design. You got the light that's really not noticeable in here. And then the back compartment, I believe, is the filtration. And I'm not exactly sure how big this tank is. We're going to have to get out the specifications real quick and go over some of the other features. So overall, this seems pretty simple at first glance. They have a step-by-step guide of how to set this up, airline tubing, and a power cord. So everything else must be contained in the aquarium and the lid itself, including the filtration. So let's go ahead and get this lid off and check it out. Okay, so the lid kind of has 2 parts here. There's the light, if you can see that. Looks like a pretty decent sized light for this small little aquarium. Hopefully it's controllable, but we will see. And then the back compartment, we have compartment number 1 here. Looks like it has some sponge filtration, so mechanical filtration, which is great. Slot number 2, more sponges of different sizes, so actually not sure what the median number 1 was. Maybe it was all mechanical, but there's also, looks like an empty slot if you wanted a small heater. And then lastly, the 3rd slot is the return pump, which is already installed in this media tray. So one thing I do like is that it has the lid already with the light built in. You don't have to buy those things separately. You don't have to buy a filter either, as it's all in the back here. And it's all nicely covered, so there's no evaporation or fish jumping out. I do like the all-in-one aspect of this aquarium so far. I really just wanted to show off a new product like this because it did seem like something that's trying to be innovative in the hobby, and I just wanted to see what it's about. So the first key feature that I see is just this lid here, and it has some smart icons on the top, which controls the lighting. The pump can turn on and off. You can hit one button and feed the fish from the auto feeder, and then there's a button for the power, which actually could be problematic if you have kids running around and they come over and slap the power button. Not sure if that will happen. There might be a feature in this to child-proof it, but I do like the light being built in. The auto feeder isn't really necessary for me. I usually just like to feed my fish myself, but you could obviously not set that up and feed the fish yourself like I probably will. But if you're ever on vacation, it is a nice thing to have. And then the all-in-one filtration is pretty sleek in the back. For a smaller aquarium, it has a pretty decent amount of space back here. And then the power cords can just slip out the back so you wouldn't have to see those at all. The glass and seams look nice and neat. And then there is a suspended base here, so you can move the aquarium pretty easily. When it's full of water, it's probably going to be 50 to 100 pounds, but if you do drain it just a bit, you could probably transport it anywhere you need pretty easily. Also, I do like the lid, how it has a little LCD screen right here, which will show the temperature. Sometimes with my other aquariums, I'm always worried that maybe the heater turned off and the sensor didn't pick it up or the thermostat's incorrect. So this is actually kind of a nice thing if you like that more futuristic look. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not, but I do like the lid and the light built in with the power cords coming out the back. Also, with the all-in-one filtration in the back, it does give you a natural background. I don't think you really have to put anything else in the back to get this thing running. And just reading a little bit further into the manual here, I do see that there is a child lock feature for these smart buttons here with the light, pump, feeding, and the power button. So I don't think you have to worry about that I mentioned earlier with kids or accidentally hitting those buttons yourself. Okay, so that is the unboxing and overview of this aquarium. I think the rest of the pros and cons you might see with this tank will be noticeable once we set it up and fill it up. And I have a perfect spot in mind for where this aquarium is going to go. It's going to be the only aquarium in my house that's not down here in my basement. And yeah, like I said, with that supported base, really easy to move this guy around, even if you had a little bit of substrate or water in here. So we're in a new location. We are not downstairs in my basement. We are in my home office upstairs. And this is where I do a lot of my work in video editing for the channel. And I've never kept an aquarium on this floor because it's apart from my others, where my python and water change system, all that is. But since this is going to be more of a smart aquarium and one I can hopefully set it and forget it and maybe only do a water change here and there, I figured I might as well put it in my home office here so I can have a fish tank, have that tranquility and serenity as I'm doing some of my work, where sometimes it can get a little stressful. But I think this will be a really cool location for it. I was going to put it right here on my desk, but the lid would open into the bottom shelf. So if you're going to keep it on like a bookshelf or a desk, just keep that in mind. But I'm putting it on this shelf for now since it is only about 4 to 5 gallons. It is not going to be too heavy for that shelf. It's a really sturdy desk. And if I ever wanted to move it, like I said, it's a really easy tank to move because of the size and the bottom to it. So as shown in the unboxing, there's only 2 other things besides the aquarium that came in the box. And that is this tubing here, which can be used for water changes and siphoning out of the tank to drain it. And then you have the power cord here, which just plugs right into the back of the aquarium, and hopefully it's ready to go like that. Really quick and easy aquascape that we did here, and I left some open space because I'm going to add some live plants in here for sure, probably towards the back and a little bit in the foreground as well. So I got the water line right up to the max fill line here. We can go ahead and try and turn on the pump and see what happens. Well, that's pretty easy. You just hit one button and the pump comes on. Looks like if you touch it one more time, it shows you like the second power. 3 is the most, and then back down to 1. And then if you hold it for 3 seconds, it turns off the pump completely. So that's actually a really nice feature, having the toggle on and off and the strength of your pump. And as you can see, the thermometer is now picking up the temperature in the tank, which is 21 degrees Celsius. I'm hoping I can change this to Fahrenheit. Otherwise, I'll have to do some mental math every time I see this, but we will see. And overall, things look like it's running pretty smoothly. We will give this a little bit of time and come back to it in a bit. So Wonder Factory calls this a smart aquarium, and I do like some of the different functionality in this tank, specifically being able to turn off the pump easily with one button. You could turn off the whole aquarium with one button. You just hit one button and the automatic feeder goes on, and you feed the exact amount to your fish each day. And maybe you just hit it once or twice each day. You could also set up the app for the exact frequencies that you want, which makes that a pretty cool feature. Then there's a light button where you can toggle through all the different modes of lighting. I believe there are 7 different main types where you can just figure out what's best for you and go with that. And then as discussed before, you have the temperature right there, along with a few other digital icons, including the current strength of your pump, and a couple icons that show you if you need to change out your media, whether it's getting clogged or too dirty. I do think that's a pretty nice feature. And one thing I didn't even realize is this airline tubing that comes with the aquarium attaches directly to that third chamber. So all you need to do for water changes is put one end of this directly into the top of the cartridge, turn off the pump, and then turn it on, and it directly pushes water out. You don't have to siphon it or suck through the hose. It's a really cool feature, and you just need a bucket or something on the other end to drain the water. And then maybe the biggest pro of this aquarium outside of the general smart functions and icons here, it was definitely the easiest all-in-one setup I've ever seen, just needing to plug in one thing. And then you could always go back and download the app and add in some other schedules and features if you want to use any of those down the line. Then there are a few things about this aquarium that I was hesitant about, especially the water line leading up to the brim of the aquarium. And you can go above the max water line that they recommend. It may not work quite as efficiently, at least the filtration, if you do it this way, but I like the water to be as high as possible in the aquarium, so that's what I currently have right now. You may even be able to go all the way to the brim, but you start getting the light at the edge of the water as well. And the other thing about this tank is that it is only 5 gallons. It is definitely a nano tank, so you have limited options in terms of stocking. And just being a cichlid guy, there aren't any cichlids that you can really put in this tank unless they're babies. So I'll probably go with something like shrimp or a betta or some different nano fish. Let me know down in the comment section what you think would look good in here. I definitely want to add live plants, so hopefully you can get a nice little ecosystem going in this small tank. And since we're already here, I went ahead and unboxed one of the Vista aquariums. This is the V1, which is the slightly smaller version, but it looks pretty cool. I actually really like this once it got out of the box. It came with a light, a filter, it can easily move on the base here, and also it came with a substrate, some dragonstone rocks, a fake plant, even a fish net and cleaning supplies. So this was definitely an all-in-one package as well, and I do really like it. I think I'm gonna probably set this up now. I might set up all 3 aquariums on a bookshelf that I'm going to be building. So the Smart Aquarium we set up today might be moving, and I might have all 3 lined up next to each other, which I think would be really cool. And since these 3 aquariums are brand new to the North American market, they are just now coming up on Amazon, so you can buy them through links in the description. The bigger one, the Smart Aquarium we set up, I believe is somewhere between $200 to $300. I think it might be $270 right now on Amazon. And again, it's everything you need for an aquarium outside of the aquascape and the fish. And then for the smaller 2 versions, the Vista series, V1 and V2, I don't know exactly what those are, but there will be links to those in the description below. I do think they are slightly cheaper, which makes sense because they are smaller aquariums. So all those will be in the description below. And I do think it's a pretty fair price considering the smart functionality, everything you need, like the light, the filter, and you don't really have to buy all of those things separately. You could obviously go cheaper and buy just a 10-gallon tank and the small filter and everything at your local fish store, but you probably won't get some of the features that you would get with this tank if you were to go that route. So it just depends on if some of those features were something you would like in your own tank, or if they're unnecessary, maybe it's not for you. But I do think it was a pretty cool tank to set up, and I am pretty pleased with it so far. So Wonder Factory knew I was going to be making this video, and they agreed to do a product giveaway. So if you'd like to enter the giveaway to win one of these smart aquariums yourself, all you have to do is like the video down below and also comment hashtag Wonder Factory Aquarium, and we'll randomly select one of you that have liked and commented. So let us know down in the comment section if you have any questions about these new tanks. Really excited to see how they progress in the future and what we're going to be putting in them. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.